the most important thing in life is to find your purpose. 5 years ago, I came up with a vision statement, and that was to improve access to high quality orthopedic surgery care in underserved countries, starting with Nigeria. As Nigerians, we need to start thinking more about legacy. How do I make a difference in the lives of people? There could be a portal, for example, that is created where all hospitals that have any type of need, we need a vascular surgeon, need a general surgeon, need whatever, they could essentially put all their needs in the portal, and some of these diasporan doctors and any other doctor even locally or can say, oh yeah, I could feel that need. And I actually consider one of my responsibilities to hopefully help to create templates for folks to re-engage with the healthcare system here. I think those are some of the ways you're going to do it. And once you do that as a stopgap, then the Nigerian patients will start to say that, look, everybody's having good outcomes. Look, and then you start hearing more about everybody doing well, going to this certain institution or that particular doctor. And then before long, like it becomes commonplace to just stay here and do the work.
Hello, my people. Welcome to another banking episode. It is the MTN Career Series, and today I'm very much excited because of the conversations we're going to be having. Well, my name is Ray Abdul, as you all know, and today I'm going to be speaking to a massive change maker. He has a very beautiful and unique story. I'm sure you've all heard about Jackpa. Naramali even sang about it, but now we are doing the Jackpada, and we're going to talk to the one and only, ever eloquent, one of the best doctors you would ever find in Nigeria, and not just Nigeria, in the whole continent. Let's welcome Dr. Oni.
Thank you so much.
Dr.
Really appreciate
Julius
you.
Oni. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
High five.
Absolutely.
How does it feel like to be here today?
Feels great. That was an incredible introduction, so it warms my heart. That,
when I heard your story, I heard about the Jackpada thing. I'm like, you know what? It's fantastic to have a conversation, with you around it. But before we even go into that, you were in Nigeria for 17 years.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. Tell me the experience, and what prompted you to travel abroad.
So I was born and raised in Nigeria. Like I like to say, I'm a true son of the soil. So my formative years, those early teenage years, were certainly spent here. So I did my high school in Nigeria, graduated in '98, and at some point I started to explore options for university, and I got into some universities in Nigeria, but I also was fortunate to have access to take the SATs. Did fairly well, got some scholarships, some partial scholarships, and the rest was history. I decided to opt for some of the U.S. options, and particularly the State University of New York at Plattsburgh was where I went for my undergrad, and went straight through from undergrad to medical school at Howard University, and after that to NYU for my orthopedic surgery residency and fellowship at for joint replacement at Rush University. And so I went straight through, and for the last 12 years I've practiced as a joint replacement surgeon in the U.S.
And like I said, you're one of the best orthopedic doctors you can ever find. But I wanted to know, did you always know you wanted to do medicine?
That's a great question. Actually, not necessarily. My father is still a general practitioner, a general practice doctor in Nigeria. And I grew up around medicine, Actually, in the early phases of my life, I used to run around the clinic that my father owned. It was called Inland Medical Center in the Kariakoko. And I used to run around, so I used to see all the, patients from complex to simple cases. And a lot of that actually made me not want to be part of medicine at all.
Well, tell me one vital thing that.
I've seen some pretty bad injuries from those, people have an injury and then they get rushed to the hospital and you see somebody's limb kind of hanging on, and I was like, I want no parts of that. And my father spent a lot of time in the hospital, and so I knew how hard it worked and the long hours, and I was just like, no, I don't want any part of that. But then I went to undergrad, and all I had an affinity for was biological sciences, and I fell in love with the human body, and just learning about it, learning about the normal function of the human body, but also the pathophysiology of the human body. And so it became really quickly apparent to me that I was going to do something related to the life sciences. So it was either I was going to do the research route and do some research, or go the people route and work with humans. And I'm a people person. I love to engage with folks, and so decided to go to medical school, and was lucky enough to do well on the entrance exam called the MCAT, to get into medical school. Did that, and it worked out.
Look at you today. But before even medicine, I know you tried other things that failed, or you don't want to tell us here. He doesn't want to tell us.
So I tried my hands at a few things in undergrad,
I know.
Anthropology. I tried music. I tried,
and that's the one that fascinates me the most.
I tried, even tried my hands at like accounting a little bit, but none of those worked out for me. I wasn't good at them at all.
Just knew that it was medicine for you.
Yeah. So.
But let's go straight to why you're here today, the Jackpada story.
Mm-hmm.
After 25 years, you decided that you want to come home, you want to bring it back home.
Yeah.
First of all, when you were there for that 25 years, did you ever think that a point was going to come where you're going to come back to your roots?
So for me, all roads eventually led back to Nigeria, because life is all about. This life is relatively short. If we're lucky, we live here for 80, 90, maybe 100 years if you're super lucky. And for me, the most important thing in life is to find your purpose, and that purpose, that vision became very clear for me, particularly in the last 5 years. But certainly, I've always had this strong desire to come back to Nigeria to make a difference. But I think what it really goes back to the origin story of how I came into orthopedics. I wanted to become a cardiovascular surgeon when I went into medical school. But then a conversation with my father about, in my third year of medical school, about my paternal grandmother who had end-stage knee arthritis, changed that for me. And then I was like, there's no one to take care of her, and she's got knee arthritis, and she's having problems walking back and forth. And so I switched from cardiovascular surgery and decided to pursue orthopedic surgery, and subsequently joint replacement surgery as a subspecialization. So that, and for me, because I did it to learn about how to take care of my grandmother. Unfortunately, she died 3 years after I started residency. But in the last 12 years, I've taken care of other people's grandmas, grandpas, uncles, aunties, fathers, mothers. And so, but this is across 3 continents, because I'm licensed to practice in the US, in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and in Nigeria. So across 3 continents. And I've done this in all of those places. But for me, the place where I felt like I was going to have the greatest impact, because 5 years ago, I came up with a vision statement, and that was to improve access to high quality orthopedic surgery care in underserved countries, starting with Nigeria. So at that point, my goal was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, let me start reverse engineering what I need to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis to achieve that dream.
To achieve the dream.
And so,
but I know you left because of school, okay? But there are a lot of people that leave because of probably hardship, or because of probably they don't pay doctors well, or they don't respect doctors well. And this takes me to something very, very pivotal. You go to hospitals and they tell you that, a Nigerian doctor would attend to you, but we have a foreign doctor. And everybody tends to want to go to the foreign doctor. You understand? And I feel like people leave even, because you are privileged, you went to school, people are living because of hardship. I want to also know your take on that. Do you think that Africans, we need to reform our mind, because people want foreign doctors to treat them rather than they want a black man to treat them? I don't know if I'm correct. As a doctor, do you see that happen a lot?
So that is a very nuanced question, and requires a little bit of a nuanced answer. I do think that being a doctor in Nigeria, a locally trained doctor, is sometimes a thankless job, right?
Okay.
You're trying to do everything you can to make a difference for your patients with relatively limited resources,
Exactly.
and you are giving it your best shot, but many times you met with a lot of resistance, a lot of distrust, a lot of disrespect
I
sometimes,
agree.
and everyone is kind of questioning your ability to deliver for the patient. So I could see how that will make any average person say, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go pursue the ability to make more money,
Yeah.
the ability to hopefully get more respect, because I know once I come back, then maybe
Exactly.
you would respect me better, right? But there's also the flip side of it. There's definitely been enough complications, enough stories of suboptimal care delivered by healthcare professionals too, that usually spread like wildfire, that has created this sense of distrust, on the patient's side. So you can kind of completely understand that. And there's also a little bit of colonial mentality too, where anything that's different from us
Yes, you appreciate it more.
is better. And that will take years of work. That will take years of proving to the ecosystem, both the patients and all the stakeholders in healthcare, that we as Nigerian doctors can deliver for the patients, day in day out, and deliver high quality care. And that's going to take some time, but the proof is going to have to be in the pudding.
Yeah.
We're going to have to show the ecosystem that we've got, right? And that's one of the reasons why I believe that the solutions to the healthcare challenges in Nigeria is going to come from a close collaboration between diasporan doctors and healthcare professionals and our local colleagues who are doing incredible work, ingenious work with relatively limited resources. Those two coming together to really find ways to deliver for the Nigerian patient, because I truly believe the Nigerian patient deserves it, and I mean, just like any other patient deserve it. So and that's one of my goals. That's why I'm here, to prove to the ecosystem that we are committed to this work, and we are committed to delivering the highest quality of care to Nigerian patients.
Yeah. But were you scared when you were coming back? Because I'll tell you, I read the comments throughout yesterday night. I was reading the comments that people had under your story. We have positive comments, but of course, I'll be candid, there were some negative
Of
comments.
course, some people
And,
said the village people won.
And there was one comment that was very, tough, because the person was like, "Oh, don't mind him. He had made a lot of money and he wants to come and invest it back home." That was one comment. So coming
But
back,
shouldn't that be a positive thing?
well,
But anyway,
they were
it's
like,
okay.
no, he had to jackpot to make all that money before he would come back. So that was the mentality. I feel like that was where the person was.
Oh,
coming
I see
from.
what you're saying.
But
Yeah.
when you knew that you wanted to come back after 25 years, what were some of your fears? Like, okay, I've left this place, 25 years, I've not been here, I'm coming back. Would they accept me? First of all, acceptance, because you have not been here for a long period of time. So, what were some of your fears when you decided that you wanted to come back?
So I mean, there were obviously a lot of fears. There were a lot of doubts. I certainly had a lot of reasons to pause and rethink the decision. And I mean, at the time that I was coming, I was an associate professor of orthopedic surgery. I was the fellowship director for joint replacement at Johns Hopkins. I was the diversity chair for the department. I was in a bunch of committees nationally. I was the chair of the American Association of Hip and Knee Surgeons Humanitarian Committee, and the director for global orthopedics at Hopkins. And so there was all these things that I knew I was going to have to give up to do this. I was also running a multifamily real estate private equity company. And I knew I had to give those things, significant portion of those things up, to pursue this dream and vision of bringing high quality orthopedic surgery care to Nigeria. But ultimately came down to this for me. I asked myself, if I turned 80 years old, if I was lucky enough to become 80, and I was reflecting over my life, would I regret not giving it a shot and trying, or would I regret giving it a shot and failing? Right? And the answer was very clear to me that the only failure for me was not trying at all, right? And so, the ecosystem not accepting me, people abusing me, that didn't really bother me as much. The biggest battle was actually with myself, and actually just trying to make sure that my family was going to be okay with it, because we were living relatively comfortably. My wife was doing her thing. My kids were like in great schools. We were living in our dream home. So it's like it was gonna be.
Like, what is daddy saying? Like, is he making sense?
So it was going to be take quite a bit to convince him, but thankfully my wife is super supportive, and she reminded when I went to her and said, you know what, the conviction is feeling a little too strong, and we need to go back home. She reminded me, she was like, our first date 11 years ago, you did ask me if I would be willing to move to Nigeria with you at some point.
Cute.
And she was like, yeah. And I said I would consider it. So, to be fair, yeah, I'll do it. And I just
support from her.
Oh yeah. So if I didn't have support from her, I definitely wouldn't have done it, because I'm not one to leave my family somewhere and be like shuttling back and forth every couple of months. I love to come home every day to see my kids, and so for me the challenge was the internal battle was the biggest battle. What are the if people are not abusing you a little bit, or at least or if people are not challenging and questioning your sanity sometimes, then you're not doing something audacious enough. So for me, it was important to be very much at peace with the decision, and have my family be at peace with the decision. Once that was done, the rest of it is noise. I don't get too excited about the accolades. I don't get too down with the negative comments. I know exactly what my motivations are and what I want to see transformed in the ecosystem. I'm not going to stop until I see it happen.
But this takes me to what I want to talk about next. I know that Nigeria is an amazing place. They may have their back and forth, but it's a great place, because I also left Ghana to Nigeria. But sometimes you find out that when you're talking to other people, like from my perspective, I'll tell you that Nigeria is a place, Lagos is a place. But when you talk to Nigerians, you were giving me an example of you sitting on a flight and you speak to other people and they tell you that Nigeria, a great place and all, and you speak to Nigeria, hey, that country is bad, carry your people, run away from there. Do you think that also the perception that Nigerians have about Nigeria is also a very big problem?
Absolutely. I mean, don't let us poo-poo the fact that the macroeconomic situation in the country right now is very difficult for a lot of people, and a lot of people are going through really tough times. So it's only normal that people would have a very pessimistic view of the country. As having said that, overall, I do also believe that we as Nigerians have a significant negative public relations problem. So we have
I think I agree with that.
we have a bad PR problem, and we tend to have a significant negative bias when it comes to our country. So I have a lot of friends from all over the place, right? I have Lebanese friends, Chinese friends, Indian friends, white friends, you name them, right? And when I speak to those ones that are living in Nigeria, or they have significant interest in Nigeria, they're not necessarily ethnic Nigerians. They always, 90% of that conversation is all about the opportunities that exist. They're like, oh man, you guys don't understand what you have. You don't understand. Some of them are actually now Nigerian, so they're like, everyone else don't understand what we have in Nigeria. Nigeria is such a fertile ground for business, and they are doing fantastically well because they see the opportunities. When I speak to a vast majority of my Nigerian friends, not all of them, but a vast majority of them, 90% of the conversation is, the Nigeria is terrible, it's so horrible. We need to throw the last person in Nigeria should throw the keys away. It's like it's mostly a negative conversation about Nigeria, right? So I do think that there needs to be a little bit of reorientation where we, instead of focusing on the negative things that we are dealing with, that we should start talking a little more positively about the things that work.
Yeah.
We should start talking positively about our incredible strength, which is our youth, our diversity. We should be talking incredibly about our population and the fact that just providing significant value to a small portion of our population could translate to an incredible business opportunity for anyone. And so, I mean, every day I'm generating business ideas that I can't even pursue 90% of them because I see it. I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And so but when you're in it, it's very difficult to process it and to see it.
Yeah.
But money is only a store of value. That's all it is. So all you need to do, no matter what your situation is say, listen, what problems am I seeing around? How can I try to solve them? Or go look for people who can bring resources to solve them, right? And if you could just do that, no matter how small the scale is, if you could bring value to that society, and you could bring something to people that need it and can't find it anywhere, guess what? They would give you their money in exchange for that.
Sure.
It's simple. And
I really agree.
And I
agree.
and I, it sounds simplistic, but it's a universal law, that if you have the presence of mind as a young person, as an old person, as a middle-aged person, to say, you know what, I'm having this experience, I'm having this challenge. Let me look around and see if other people are having the same challenge. Oh, okay, other people are. Okay, so how do we solve this problem? And you may not be able to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But once you start talking about it and start moving around, seeking it, guess what? Eventually you start meeting people with like minds who are going to want to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you've created a solution to that problem. So the solution makers always do well.
But talking about talent, we also know that Nigerians are quite talented. But there's been like a topic that has been going, about for some time, that we train these doctors. They are good. They are really, really good. But you tend to see them traveling out because they feel like they'll pay them better. So they don't care about the fact that Nigeria has trained me. Let me take care of people back home. But it's only about the money aspect. So if I travel out, I'll get paid more. And I hear also there's a law of saying that for doctors you need to stay for some period of time, which I really agree which makes a lot of sense. But I just want to take your take, on that as well.
Yeah. So once again, that question seems straightforward, but it's actually relatively nuanced, and the answer needs to have the same quality too. So when you talk to a doctor who was trained in Nigeria at a significant subsidized amount, their question would be, listen, even if I stayed, I still cannot practice at the top of my skill, right? And so I want to be one of the best in the world too.
But would they allow them practice at the top of their skill?
So that's the thing. They would get trained well enough to get practice, to be able to practice at the top of their skill, also in the U.S. or anywhere else. They don't get
trained enough well here?
So the medical school system definitely trains them well enough, but ultimately, when it comes to either surgery or many of the specialized specialized career paths in medicine, you need to do a lot. There's a lot of doing a lot of the surgeries that before you get, if you wanted to be a joint replacement surgeon, right? Yeah, I mean, I did over 2,000 surgeries in training before I became an orthopedic surgeon, right?
With real people?
Yeah. Okay. So most people cannot get that
in Nigeria.
Exactly, even in their training, right? So you can see how, like, beyond the didactics, when it comes to like the specialized things. I mean, okay.
So if I'm getting it, I don't understand. So they train them, but they don't give them the ability to do practicals.
Exactly. So no, they do practicals, but you may not get the same volume that you're going to get in other places because of either there's a lack of resources, particularly when it comes to elective surgeries, right? So I understand both parts. I understand that.
I
I think it's important that as Nigerians, we need to start thinking more about legacy. How do I make a difference in the lives of people? But I also do think that I understand the perspective of someone who wants to become the best that they can ever be and get the best training available in the rest of the world. What I would ask is that you shouldn't just get that training and forget about Nigeria, right? I don't discourage people from leaving. Instead, I say, you know what? Let's train even more people. Let's have more medical schools. Let's pump out more doctors. Let them go. If they want to go. That's my perspective. If you really want to go, go. But if you want to stay, let's make it really exciting for you to stay. Let's create a pathway for you to really be fulfilled with your work. Let's collaborate. Instead of you having to go to up level your skill in other places, let's bring some of our diaspora and top surgeons from all over the world, and Nigerians are there in every specialty. There are top Nigerians in every specialty. Let's bring them. Let's have them work closely with some of these great doctors. Let's do exchanges where you don't feel like you need to go and stay there, where you could go for a couple of months, come back, and really start. Let's do that, and let's create like policies that encourages our doctors to want to stay, right? I think that is going to be important. I don't believe in forcing people to do things. I think you've got to create the policies and the education to have people feel like, you know what, I have a duty to this country that did give me this training at this cost, and to give back to it. And that's gonna take some time. But I do believe it will happen.
Yeah, I was just going to go to that. And I'm like, for the ones that are leaving because of money, I know that the profession, I always tell people, you have to have empathy before you say you want to do medicine. Because like, I know that yes, you still have to eat and all, but I feel like the patients or the people are more important. Well, I don't know.
I agree with you. But people, when people are in survivor mode, it's really hard for none of these arguments can penetrate their heads.
But you're in Nigeria now. You've come. You've seen. Okay, I want you to rate it for me from 1 to 100, and I want you to be very realistic as you can be. You've seen the healthcare system, because a lot of people complain about the Nigerian healthcare system. You go to hospitals, you see that sometimes you're not taken care of, like a lot of things. So what you've seen so far, how are you going to rate it?
So to answer that question, I have to let you know that I've been coming back to Nigeria for over 10 years, like at least 1 to 4 times a year, and before I actually even decided to fully come back, right? And in that 10 years, in almost every specialty, right, that I've encountered, there's been a lot of improvements in leaps and bounds, right? However, that does not mean that we don't have a long way to go to essentially compete and perform all of the healthcare functions at the world-class level, right? So there are some specialties where we are already delivering world-class care in Nigeria here, believe it or not. I mean, in some places, interventional radiology is being performed at the same level as anywhere else in the world. In some places, joint replacement is being performed at the same level as almost anywhere in the world. In some places, cardiovascular surgery, urology, same thing. I mean, vascular surgery, things of that nature. There are people who have either gone, trained, come back, and they're doing it. I'm not the first to really do this, there are a lot of people working in silos and sometimes in collaboration to do this work already, and things are getting better. However, that does not negate a lot of the things you said, that there's still a lot of stories, like you said, where people are not being treated well, where the quality of service delivered is bad, where the empathy from the doctors is just not there, where the healthcare system is completely failed. Some patients, no questions about that. But Rome wasn't built in a day, And I don't believe that casting aspersions on the healthcare system and just painting them with one big brush is the answer either. I feel for the doctors here because they, just like I said earlier, their job is relatively thankless. And even when they're trying their best, under very difficult circumstances, they still kind of get the short end of the stick sometimes. So I lean more towards leading and approaching them with kindness and understanding their perspective and encouraging them in the places where they have done great and trying to gently criticize them or constructively criticize them and encourage them and educate them to get better in the places where they are not doing it at the level that they should. So I think that's why, and it's really difficult too for someone like me who was foreign trained, has worked outside of the country, to come in and say you're not doing this right, you're not doing this right, it's I mean, no one wants to kind of hear from some random foreign, no matter how accomplished you are. That will most likely not make them want to get any better. But if I'm saying, listen, I know you're doing the best with what you can, you're doing the best with what you know, there are things that you know that I don't know. And there are things that I may know that you may not know. And so let's exchange information. Let's work together. Let's figure out ways, because the most important person is the patient. And as far as we both now are able to deliver the best care for the patient, then we all win. I don't care, how we get there. Exactly. But the patient is the focus. And so the goal is for us to slowly but surely drive towards patient-centered care. That's the goal.
So I really want to know, what are some of the policies that can be put in place to make it a better place? Because most Nigerians, when you hear that they're sick or their children are sick, let's take them to America, let's take them to India, let's take them to Germany. So what are some of the policies that we can put in place that, people are like, we have Nigerian doctors, we trust them, they can deliver, they can do well.
Yeah. So I think I'm not a public health expert, but I could opine on a couple of things. So I think, at this point, Nigeria has about 55,000 doctors treating 220 million people. There's about 30,000 doctors of Nigerian origin also practicing outside of Nigeria. I think one of the lowest hanging fruits where you can, in almost in the span of a year to 2 years, completely change the face of Nigerian healthcare is to make it super easy for the good portion of those 30,000 Nigerian doctors practicing outside of Nigeria to come back and engage with, even if it's on a partial basis, even if it's once a year, if it's twice a year, even if it's via telemedicine, even if it's through education in our medical schools virtually, make it so easy for them to do it. And one of the ways you do it is, you just make it super easy for them to get licenses, make it easy for them to teach in our medical schools, either private or public, make it and recognize them for that work,
And the ones here as well.
Absolutely. The ones that are already doing the work is what I'm saying. They will essentially be an additional reinforcement and force to help the great work that the ones here are doing. That's it, But can you imagine bringing the just half of those 30,000 doctors? And guess what? A lot of them have a fire burning in their hearts for Nigeria. It may be faint, but in some people, that fire is burning really brightly. But they have that conviction that, I want to make a difference. Some have not even ever visited Nigeria. They're like second generation, third generation Nigerian doctors in the US, in the UK, Australia, Canada, thinking, I would love to give back to that country. Make it easy for every single one of those people to engage someone. Create policies that would make that easy. That's one. Second, there could be a portal, for example, that is created where all hospitals that have any type of need, we need a vascular surgeon, need a general surgeon, need whatever, they could essentially put all their needs in the portal, And some of these diasporan doctors and any other doctor, even locally, or
Yeah.
can say, "Oh, yeah, I could feel that need," yeah, and essentially, plug in and essentially create a marketplace for them to
Yeah.
because right now a lot of my friends when I decided announced that I was coming, I got a lot of calls from a lot of
Yeah.
people. People are like, you know what? I also want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just don't even know where to start.
Where to start
I don't know what hospital to go to. I don't know,
Yeah.
who to talk to. Like it's
And,
just
and that's why they have the jackpot king. So you know what?
so it just seems so complex
So,
for them.
yeah.
So make it easy, make that
it
easy.
easy.
And I actually consider one of my responsibilities
Yeah.
to hopefully help to create templates for folks to re-engage with the healthcare system here. I think this is some of the ways you're going to do it. And once you do that, that as a stopgap, then the Nigerian patients will start to say that,
Yeah.
look, everybody's having good outcomes.
Good outcomes.
Look, and then you start hearing more about everybody doing well, going to this certain institution or that particular doctor, and then before long, like it becomes commonplace to just stay here and do the work. Absolutely.
Beautiful. And then he saw rest in peace. South Sultan sang a song. He said, "There's no place like home. So whatever you do, don't forget area." So
Absolutely.
definitely, I wish I could sing it, but all our doctors, please don't forget home. But I'm still with the Jackpata King right here. I can call you Jackpata King, right? Right
I
here.
don't know,
with
but
me.
I don't know if I
Don't go
deserve
don't
that
go anywhere
title.
because when we come back, we're gonna play games with him. We're gonna go to the fun side because we've been talking, hard.
A
Now we're
little
going
serious.
to the lighter side. So don't
No
go anywhere.
worries.
This is MTN Career Series. Welcome back, Yellow, and welcome back. You're still watching MTN Career Series, and I still have Dr. Jakpada right here with me, and we're about to do the games. I'm very, very passionate about this segment because I don't know if he's going to get it or not. But anyway, let me just take you
You're
through
gonna
it.
start
this is
making people think my name is Dr. Jakwada.
I know,
It's
I'm
Dr.
supposed to start
Oni.
calling you Dr. Jakwada.
Oni. O-N-I.
Dr. Oni, aka
I'm just
Dr.
joking.
Jakwada.
I'm just joking.
All right, but we're going to do the mogul monikers. So I'm going to give you a hint, and then you will tell why you're trying to steal.
I'm not looking at
So
it.
I'm gonna give you a hint, and then you will tell me, like, the full, what I'm talking about. So I give you the hint, and you tell me either the name or the brand or whatsoever it is. So we have from number 1 to 72. So you can pick.
36.
Oh, this person. Okay. The Nigerian entrepreneur is a pioneer in mobile payments, founding one of Africa's leading fintech companies.
Mobile payments?
Yeah, let me take it again. So the Nigerian entrepreneur is a pioneer in mobile payments, funding one of Africa's leading fintech companies.
Leading
When
fintech
you
companies.
pay with your ATM card.
Yeah.
When you pay with your card.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you a hint.
I'm not sure what that is. So,
Okay, so when you pay with your card,
Yeah.
what did they write? Powered by what when you pay with your card?
Stripe.
Why are they trying to tell you? I want him to get it. So it just shows that you don't pay with Nigerian card. When you pay with your Nigerian card,
Yeah.
what is it powered by?
I'm not sure.
Let me just InterSwitch, Michelle.
Oh, InterSwitch. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Michelle. Okay, so let's
Michelle.
pick another number.
30. Let's
30.
just make keep you on the same
Just
page.
let us know that you don't pay with Naira card. Okay, so
I'm new to the ecosystem,
I
so
know,
sorry.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so which number are you picking?
30.
It's difficult. Do you want to pick another one? I'm trying to help you.
Okay. No, I mean, I guess 15.
15.
Maybe the early ones is like
Okay,
easier.
let's go to 15.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says she founded a cosmetic brand focused on makeup products for women of all shapes.
Also Tara?
She's also a musician, and
no.
she's married to a musician abroad.
Awesome.
She has a makeup line. She has a musician husband.
Yeah.
She has a makeup line doing really well for all shades of women, for all women with different.
And is married to another artist?
Yeah. She was dating one artist before that was beating her, and then she now found.
Is it Tio Savage? No. Who?
Did they have the similar stories? No.
I know. Oh.
They are not Nigerians. They are abroad.
Oh, they're abroad.
Yes.
Oh, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
High five, but I helped you.
I know. I thought you were talking about Nigerian personalities.
No. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay,
your last
okay.
number, so pick your last number.
Yeah. Let's see.
Last number.
I would say 9.
Okay, number
Yeah,
9.
why not?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It's a hard one.
This Nigerian entrepreneur.
So it's not just
is-
Nigerian. It's like okay.
Well, this
Okay.
one is Nigerian. So this Nigerian entrepreneur is known for building the largest indigenous oil and gas company in West Africa.
Interesting.
He has the last name of our president.
Oh, interesting. That's Wallet in the book. Yeah.
You got it. Okay, so this one, you're gonna put it all together and tell me. So you see, this is what?
This is a plant. Water. Plant water in a basket.
So who is gonna use these things?
Who would use them?
Yeah.
I mean, like a gardener or something.
Okay, I think you got it. It's a farmer actually. A
It's a
gardener is a
farm.
farmer. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Did you get it? Come see, come sa.
It's close enough.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
So you have a watch, you have footsteps, and you have the heartbeat.
A doctor. I mean,
Yeah, like what do they use these things for? You have a watch, you're checking.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
checking.
Like checking the heart rate.
Yeah, so
Yep.
like okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's fitness tracker. So
Fitness
checking-
tracker.
checking
Okay,
yourself.
okay. I see.
So the last one, a mic. I love this one. A mic, a crown,
A crown.
and she's an amazing performer. She's not Nigerian actually.
Okay.
She's called Queen. She's called the Queen.
This
She's
is a lot
called
of
Queen.
queens.
She's called Queen
Oh,
B.
Queen B. Oh,
Ah.
Beyonce. Oh,
Beyonce.
I see.
Okay,
Because
so-
it's a lot of Queen of R&B is
Yeah.
like, Mary J. Blige.
In Nigeria, to a savage.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Okay,
still a
so we're
savage.
gonna go another quick break, and when we come back, we have one more game. Welcome back. So it's time for popular acronyms, and Dr. Oni is going to do some.
Absolutely.
So I'm just
Let's
going
do
to
it.
be calling them very fast because it's
Right now.
in 30 seconds.
No worries.
You good?
Go
Okay.
for it.
So B2B,
Business to business.
B2C,
Business to consumer.
CRM,
Customer. AI. Artificial intelligence. of
VR,
course. Virtual reality.
ML,
Machine learning.
D2C,
Direct to consumer.
BI,
Business.
CRP, CPR.
CPR.
I was trying to confuse you.
CPR is
I was trying to confuse you.
continuous
But
pulse
anyway,
monitor.
it's been
yeah.
amazing having you on the show, but I cannot let you go
Yeah.
without just giving a few words to people, young people that are looking up to you, people that want to be doctors, people that are thinking of jackpot, people that are thinking of jackpot, all those people. I just want you to, just give me some little few words before we let you go.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you are thinking about medicine, certainly make sure you're passionate about it. Medicine is a craft that is all about patient. It's all about care. And just like I said earlier, if you provide enough value to people, the money will eventually come. But the money cannot be the focus of a career path that you're choosing. For us, you want to make sure that it's something that you just love to do so much that the time just passes when you're doing it and you don't care. Once you found that, and if that is medicine for you, then you just gotta put everything you've got into it to make sure that you become the best of the best at what you do. Because once you do that, then success is certainly sure. And I would just say that, if you are thinking about leaving, I can't stop you, but certainly do not forget home, because Nigerian patients need you, and the Nigerian patients deserve you. So that would be my advice.
That's so touching. They need you and they deserve you. Thank you so much, Dr. Oni. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
My
Thank you for
pleasure.
your time. We really love and appreciate it. But anyway, that's all we had for you today. But not to worry, my yellow people. Next week, we're back again with a banging and fantastic episode. My name is Ria Abdul.